So this is a how-to video on installing cement backer board, from cutting the board to throwing out the walls to prepping the joints and waterproofing the entire system. Everything that is required to install the board correctly.
Okay, so how do you cut Durock? It's actually quite simple. Okay, so I need to cut like 1.25 inches off that end. Gonna make an L for the curb there. Cut out like a corner, and then I have to cut a hole for the curb. And this is how I do it.
So to cut Durock, all you really have to do is just score and snap it. You actually want to try not to use power tools or anything that will create dust, because Durock has silicates in it and is not good for you to breathe in. So you want to keep the dust down. And so, like I said, just score it really well with a utility knife, and then you bend it back and cut the back side, and it's all done. Very easy to cut. If you want, you could also use a carbide scoring tool, but then you still need to use a utility knife to cut the back side of it when you bend it over. So Durock usually cuts very well with a utility knife, and the same goes for really any kind of cementitious backer unit, except for hardy board, which is a little more difficult to cut because it doesn't score that easily. So in that case, you would use a carbide tool.
Okay, now I'm going to cut the hole. Okay, you can get all kinds of fancy tools to cut a hole. The easiest way to do it, get a keyhole saw. Simple as that. Okay, so when you can't use drywall screws, you can't use anything that's not coated or protected or galvanized. These are actually Durock screws. You can get these ones here. You get these ones here. Durock. Do not use drywall screws because the chemicals in the board will just eat it away over time. So you have to make sure you get the correct screws. And you put one every 8 inches. Not one every foot, every 8 inches. These screws, first of all, they have like a little, on the inside they have a little bit of an edge, and what that'll do is it'll, as you screw it in, it'll grind the Durock so it'll sit flush. And also drywall screws which aren't coated will be eaten away by the Durock over time. Okay, so I put this level across here. All the studs touch, except for this one. So I'm going to shim that out. That 1/4 inch. See, this one touches. That one touches. That one touches. And that one touches. That means they're all in plane. But this one here is out by a 1/4 inch. This here, this wall is way out of whack. If I put this level across here, and you can see that it's a big gap on this side and on this side, and it's flat over here. So I'm going to throw this out. So I'm going to shim and screw it on. And then that'll be all in plane. Okay, so the first thing I did was protect the tub. This is a brand new tub. Don't want to scratch it. I don't want to get any crap on it. Okay, so I'm putting this Durock on, and I further it out on the back wall. The board's already up, so you can't see it, but on this wall here, and so that when I put the board on, it'll go over the lip and not on top of the lip or behind the lip. This way the board will come over this lip, and that's how it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go on top or behind. That way you keep the water out of the wall. So you might wonder why there's no vapor barrier. Well, the reason is because I'm going to waterproof the whole surface of this Durock. So you don't need a vapor barrier behind if you put one in front. In fact, if you put one in front, you don't put one behind. Okay, now I'm going to put this piece up. So I'm staggering the joints so I don't have one line going straight up and down, and I'll fill these pieces in as I go up. So I'm putting in the fiberglass mesh tape, which is Durock tape. It's alkali resistant or corrosion resistant tape. Don't use drywall tape because drywall tape will deteriorate over time. This has to be alkali resistant. You can't use the drywall version of this. It has to be alkali resistant. This is what I'm putting up now, and then I'm going to mud it. Okay, so this is just thin set I'm going to use to mud those things. And you want to keep that very, very thin so you don't create a hump when you tile it. So just coat over it, fill the joint, and keep it thin. Okay, so that's all done. When that dries, I'll waterproof it with I'm going to waterproof this shower now, and in the corners and in the knee wall I am going to put this fabric to reinforce it. It's a fiberglass fabric, and that gets impregnated with the waterproofing, and then I'm going to coat the whole thing with waterproofing. Okay, so I'm cutting the fabric for these corners. That piece goes in that corner, that piece goes in that corner, and this goes like this. Goes in that corner. Like that. And this piece goes like that. And now I'm going to cut this one for over here. Okay, so this is Duroc, and everyone seems to think that it's waterproof. It's not. It's water safe, but it's not waterproof. If I put a sponge on here, it's going to soak up all the water. It's just going to soak it up. So you need to waterproof this and coat it with waterproofing. Over here you don't need to because it's outside the shower, but in the shower it needs to be completely covered. 2 coats. Just absorbs the moisture, sucks it right in. You want to make sure you wear gloves, because this stuff gets in your hands, you're not getting it off. Okay, so see how it's been sitting for a while, and it's all settled. You want to make sure you stir it really good. Get all the components all mixed together. This has been sitting on the shelf for a little while. So make sure it gets all mixed in together. Okay, so I mixed it thoroughly. Okay, to roll it on, you're going to use a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch nap roller. It has to be really like a thick nap to get it on there good. I am going to give this 2 coats. I put some fabric around the bottom just to make sure everything gets sealed up nice and in the corners, but I'm not going to cover the ceiling. Now Duroc is water safe, but it is not waterproof. It will absorb moisture, and with enough moisture it'll soak all the way through. So that's why you coat it with a waterproofing membrane, a liquid applied waterproofing membrane, so that the water, any water that gets on the Duroc, even if the tile's on it, gets behind the tile, it will not go through the Duroc and penetrate into the wall cavity. So that's why you waterproof it. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a coat with the paintbrush, put the fabric on, and then another coat. See, I have that tape up to the edge there. I know that the tile is going to cover all that edge there, so I don't have to worry about getting it on the top. Okay, so I got it all the corners and everything done. Now I'm going to roll it first in one direction, let it dry, and then go in the other direction. Okay, so that's one coat. I'm not going to do the ceiling, but that's one coat on the walls, and I went up and down. The next coat, when this dries, will be side to side, and that'll give it full coverage and make the walls waterproof. So it's pretty much dry, so I'm going to give everything a second coat. Okay, so that's 2 coats, and everything's waterproof. Obviously it's got to dry.
Okay, so at the very end here, these are just a few shots of the finished bathrooms that I was working on. I think there's like 4 of them. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I will leave some links in the description and in the cards. And please visit my online store, dibsamart.com.